It's always good to see Harmony fold when I'm in the hand.
Harmony passes.
I'm going to make Phil very happy.
KW out. Bruce lays it down. Back to Chris Ferguson, who calls the 25. Heads up pot. Phil Gordon, Chris Ferguson.
That's interesting. Chris rarely just calls before the flop, so it's pretty possible he's slow playing a good hand.
First 3 cards come down. Queen, 5, 3 with 2 hearts.
Fantastic flop. Top pair, great kicker. I've got good position.
Chris checks it.
I've slow played Chris in situations like this before, but I'm going to bet right out here.
Phil makes it 50,000.
The longer he studies here, the worse I'm feeling about my hand. Yeah, great.
Chris Ferguson's moved all in. Phil Gordon's asked for a count. First they're going to call.
All right, it's time to do some simple math. I've got to call $120,000 to win $280,000. If I call and I'm beat, I'm still going to have over $350,000 in chips, and that's more than enough to play solid poker. If I call and I win, though, not only will I have a huge chip stack, but I'll have eliminated my #1 competition at the table. Pot's offering me almost 3 to 1 on my money. I don't really have any choice.
I got a call.
And Phil Gordon's called. He's got king, queen. It's a big hand. 2 aces for Chris Ferguson.
Nice slow play, Chris.
All right.
All right, I need to suck out.
Aces versus queens. And 2 cards left.
Come on, queen.
Turn card is a 7. Phil Gordon needs either a king or a queen. Or
Preferably
he's
a
going to
queen.
lose a big pot here. A 10 on the river.
Wow.
Nice play.
And Chris Ferguson's going to double up in a big pot, and he's back in the tournament.
All right, Chris doubled up. He made a great play. Before the flop, Chris decided to slow play. He didn't raise because he didn't want me to fold dominated hands. He was right. If he'd have raised big here, I would have folded this king-queen based on the gap concept. I raised with the king-queen, but I wouldn't have called a big re-raise. So Chris saved his raise until after the flop when I was trapped. Great players make great plays. Chris caught me. Nothing I can do about it. Poker players need very little math to play well. Once and for all, I'm going to show you the correct way of counting outs, using the rule of 4 and 2, and calculating pot odds, so that you'll be able to make winning decisions at the table. Step 1. Counting outs. Here's an example of counting outs. Suppose my hand is the 6 of spades, 5 of spades. The flop comes down queen of spades, 3 of diamonds, 7 of spades. In this case, my hand has almost no chance of winning unless it improves. If it does improve, I have a very good chance of winning. First, I see I need any spade to make a flush, or any 4 to make a straight. Notice that the 4 of spades appears twice. I'm careful to only count it 1 time. I have a total of 12 outs. 12 cards can come that will improve my hand to what I hope will be a winning hand. Step 2, the rule of 4 and 2. After I figure out how many outs I have, I use the rule of 4 and 2 to determine how often I'll make a winning hand. Let's start off with the rule of 4. After the flop, I multiply my number of outs by 4 to determine my chances of making a winning hand. In this case, I have 12 outs. 12 times 4 is 48. Therefore, I have about a 48% chance of improving my hand by the river. The rule of 2. After the turn card, I use the rule of 2. Suppose the turn card comes the 8 of clubs. Now I have 15 outs. All the spades make a flush, the 4s will make a straight, and 9s will also make a straight. I now multiply my number of outs by 2, and that tells me that I've got a 30% chance of catching a winning card on the river. Step 3. Calculating pot odds. After figuring out my chances of winning by using the rule of 4 and 2, I have to calculate the pot odds to make winning decisions. Suppose the pot has $300 in it. My opponent bets $100. Now the pot contains $400. I'm being asked to call $100 to win $400. My pot odds are 400 to 100, or simplifying that, 4 to 1. If I call $100, my $100 chip will represent 1/5 or 20% of the pot. So I need a 20% chance to win to justify calling. Step 4. Making winning decisions. After counting my outs, using the rule of 4 and 2, and figuring out the pot odds, I can make correct winning decisions at the table. This is what it's all about. Suppose I have 5 outs after the flop. 5 times 4 equals 20%. I've got a 20% chance of making my hand. After the bet, there's $200 in the pot. I'm being asked to call 100. I'm getting 2 to 1 pot odds. Therefore, I need a 1 out of 3, or a 33% chance to win to justify calling that $100 bet. I only have a 20% chance of winning, so in this case, folding is the winning decision. Here's a little bonus section, implied odds. Suppose the pot has $300 in it, and my opponent bets $100. That same opponent has $200 left in front of them. The pot now contains $400. I'm being asked to call 100 to win 400. My pot odds are 4 to 1. However, if I catch a winning card, I'm absolutely certain that my opponent is going to call his last $200. So, the pot size should look like $600. 600 is the implied pot, the $400 currently in the pot, and the $200 that I'll win if I make my hand. If I call the $100, my $100 chip will represent 1/7 or 14% of the implied pot. So, I need a 14% chance to win to justify calling. Hey, we're covering a ton of information here, so feel free to take some breaks and let this stuff sink in. If you didn't get it the first time, remember, you can watch this DVD as many times as you need to. Before we get back to the table, let's take a quick look at the chip count. Chris now has more chips than I do. Butch still has a monster stack, and I'm second to last. For now.
Okay, we've gone to a $2,000 ante, 5 and 10,000.
Jack 7 suited, against 5 opponents from early position, no way. They probably think I'm on tilt too, and I pretty much am. I'm gonna lay it down.
Phil lets it go.
Now, even though I'm not playing the hand, I'm still involved. I'm observing my opponents and trying to find information that's gonna help me later. I'm gonna look for tells. I'm gonna look for betting patterns. I'm gonna try to figure out what hands they have, and I'm gonna try to figure out what state of mind they're in.
A raise.
Harmony's going to raise the pot. She makes it 30,000, a raise of 20,000. KW's out.
I'll dance with you, my dear. But let's make it 80,000.
Like a lot of guys that Harmony plays against, Bruce thinks that he can push her around.
80,000 is the bet from Bruce, a raise of 50,000. Ferguson passes, Butch is out.
Yeah, I'll call that.
She's going to call.
Bruce's re-raise got him heads up in position against Harmony.
Flop is ace, 8, 7 with 2 clubs.
The texture of this board is very dangerous because there's an ace, and Bruce is likely to play any hole card with an ace. There are also 2 cards of the same suit, and that makes a flush draw possible. There are 2 connecting cards, which makes a straight draw possible. The texture of this board is dangerous, and that would determine how I'd play this hand if I were still in. If I had the top pair right now, a pair of aces, I'd make a big bet, a bet about the size of the pot, and I'd try to get those drawing hands to fold. This is what's great about No Limit Texas Hold'em. You can change the size of your bet to manipulate the pot odds to cause people with drawing hands to pay an appropriate price to continue.
I'll check that.
Didn't help you?
Harmony checks.
Well, let's keep this ball rolling. 60,000.
60,000 is the bet.
Bruce bet a third of the pot into this dangerous board. His bet's giving Harmony pot odds of 4-1. If she's on a draw, she should definitely call. I think Bruce made a poor bet here. If he's got a strong hand, he's got to bet more to protect his hand. I think it's more likely that Bruce is bluffing and was afraid to risk too many chips if it didn't work out.
I'm all in.
And moved all in.
All right, now, Harmony's all in. She's either very strong or she suspects that Bruce is on a bluff. Her bet gives Bruce less than 2-1 pot odds to call, so he'd be making a mistake to call with a straight or flush draw because he's not getting the proper odds to do so.
It's all yours.
Great play by Harmony. The key to this hand is that the texture of the board should determine your bet. If you have a hand that can easily be outdrawn, bet strongly enough to offer insufficient odds for your opponents to continue. When I have a good hand and the texture of the board is dangerous, I usually bet about the size of the pot because I want my opponent to fold. When I have a good hand and the texture of the flop is not dangerous, I usually bet somewhere about a third to half the size of the pot because I want my opponent to call. The texture of the board determines my bet.
So Gordon now with the big blind. Harmony passes.
Let's make it 30.
KW makes it 30,000.
Cool.
Call over here from Butch.
I think I'm going to call here. I really want to be in a pot with KW and Butch.
And Phil Gordon also calls.
Butch is going to donate chips, and KW is either going to go all in or fold after the flop. If he goes all in, it may just be with a marginal hand.
First three cards.
Bingo, that's a fantastic flop. I got the flush draw, I got the top pair.
Check.
Given that the texture of this board is dangerous, I think Butch has a weak hand. Otherwise, he'd have to bet to protect his hand. I've got top pair here, so I should bet to protect my hand, right? Well, actually, I'm going to check. Let me explain. First, I'm very confident that my short-stacked opponent, KW, will make a bet at the pot even if he didn't hit this hand. Second, I've got the flush draw and a backdoor straight draw, which gives me a ton of outs even if I'm beat. If I only had top pair with no outs, I'd bet to protect. Remember, poker's a game of situations, not hard and fast rules. In this situation, I think the right play is to check. I'm really hoping that KW is going to bet.
Check.
Phil checks.
Come on, baby.
I'm all in.
Yes!
KW moves all in.
Perfect.
Call. How much?
It's been called immediately by Butch.
Wow! And a quick call from Butch. The hell can he have? All right, it's my turn. I got to think. Every time it's my turn to act, I ask myself the following questions. Are my opponents playing conservatively or aggressively? What are some of the hands my opponents are likely to hold? What do my opponents think I have? Am I in good position or in bad position? After answering those questions, then I ask the most important questions. Should I bet or should I raise? If I think I have the best hand, I usually bet or raise. If I think I can force weak opponents out of the pot, I usually bet or raise. Should I check or fold? If I think I have the worst hand, I usually check or fold. If I think my opponents are strong, I usually check or fold. If I think my opponent will bet, and I believe I have the best hand, I will usually check, let them bet, and then I raise. If I'm not sure if I should raise, and I'm not sure if I should fold, calling or checking is usually correct. I'm going to think about Butch's betting pattern. He didn't raise before the flop. He checked into a dangerous flop, and then he just called KW's all-in bet. I think that if Butch had a very strong hand, he would have raised KW's bet in order to push me out of the pot. So, my conclusion is that Butch is on a draw. I believe right now that my top pair is the best hand at the table. Even if it isn't, though, I still have outs.
I'm all in.
Phil Gordon's moved all in. The action is back to Butch.
My raise knocked his hat off. Butch is probably starting to feel the pain right now of playing too many starting hands.
Give it to you.
Butch lays it down. We're going to see what these hands are. Phil Gordon chose
I'm not sure
Jack
if I wanted you to call
10
or not,
of
actually.
diamonds, which is a top pair and a flush draw. The nut flush draw over here.
And I've got the best hand. KW's got a lot of outs, though. I'm praying for no diamond and no ace.
All right, deal. I need a diamond. one
KW
time.
also has a backdoor straight draw. Here comes the turn card. A 5 on the turn.
5 on the turn. Now no diamond, no ace. No diamond, no ace.
Diamond
Tens in the
deal.
lead for Phil Gordon.
No diamond, no ace.
The river card is a king. And
Yes.
Phil Gordon is eliminated. KW finishes up in 6th place.
Nice hand, nice hand.
We're down to the final 5.
1 down, 4 to go.
Can't believe that. I would have won the hand again.
Well, then I
By
guess
taking the time to think, I correctly checked my top pair to KW and correctly pushed Butch out of the pot by re-raising all in. Doing so saved me a pot Butch would have won. It's tough making difficult decisions in the heat of the battle. You've got to slow yourself down and take the time to think. Take the time to ask yourself questions before deciding to raise, fold, or call. Your time doing so will be well rewarded. I guarantee it. Just before final table play started at the World Series of Poker Championship event in 2001, Chris Ferguson gave me this piece of advice. Anytime there's a significant change at the final table, take a few minutes to figure out how the dynamics of the table have been affected. Here are some significant changes that can occur at the table. A player just won or lost a big pot. A player at the table just got caught bluffing. The blinds have increased. Or a player was just eliminated. During my timeout, here's some of the things that I think about. How has my image changed? Who may be on tilt? Should I change gears? In this case, the significant change is that KW has just been eliminated. Now, let's think through the questions. Has my table image changed? Well, yeah. After folding 3 hands earlier, I just check-raised someone all in. If someone thought they could bully me and run me over, they will now have to think twice about it. Is anyone on tilt? Well, Butch is always on tilt, and based what I've seen of his game, he'll be playing hyper-aggressively for a little while. Should I change gears? I'm going to continue playing tight now, but I am going to loosen up just a little bit. After a player's been eliminated, the blinds come around just a little bit faster, and it should force you to play more hands. Remember, take timeouts when the table dynamics change significantly. Also, remember to take your own timeouts as needed when watching this DVD. Let's update the chip count. KW is taking home about $100,000, and Harmony, Bruce, and I are running neck and neck. Butch is somehow managing to hang on to his chip lead, and I am dying to get into a big pot with him.
And Bruce's first act. He passes. Now to Ferguson. And Chris leads out for 40,000.
Chris might be trying to steal the blinds from late position.
Butch passes now to Phil Gordon.
If Chris is on a steal, I'm going to let him have this one. I'm going to stick to my game plan of playing tight. When the time is right, I'll switch gears.
Phil lays it down. Back to Harmony, who calls.
I'm going to put Harmony here on 2 high cards or maybe a medium pair.
First 3 cards are 9, 5, 5. 9, 5, 5.
Check.
Harmony checks it. Chris makes it 70,000.
Considering the texture of this board, Chris made a good bet. A paired flop with no draws presents a great opportunity for selective aggression. Whether or not he actually has a made hand is unimportant. He's got position, and Harmony surrendered her right to be the first to the pot.
Not worth it.
Good call. Chris Ferguson wins the pot.
Harmony's check on the flop indicated weakness, and so Chris pounced on it with a decent-sized bet. I'm sure Chris remembered that Harmony check-raised Bruce a few hands ago, but that did not stop him from betting out. When someone checks to me, I don't fear a check raise. I use the power of my position, and I bet aggressively.
On the blinds. 3, 10, and 20.
Blinds have gone up.
Bruce is in the big blind. Chris Ferguson's first act.
I'm on the button. I love being on the button.
Call.
Butch calls.
Because Butch plays too many starting hands, I'm going to raise right now. I'm going to hope that the other players will get out of the way so I can play heads up against Butch in position. This is called an isolation raise.
Raise.
Gordon raises the pot. Makes it 60,000. A raise of 40,000.
This raise is going to make it really difficult for the blinds to continue.
He passes.
Call.
Ah,
And a call. It's up to Butch.
well, I hope to get heads up, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen.
And Butch calls. 3 players in for 60,000.
I'm really hoping to flop a 5 here.
Flop is ace, jack, 6 with 2 clubs.
Oh, I'm done with this hand. If anyone puts a bet in, I'm done.
$120,000.
120,000 from Bruce.
Yeah, well, that's a bet. That bet of 3/4 of the pot suggests that he's protecting a made hand from the possible draws. The texture of the board determined his bet. And let's see if our little tilt monster is going to play.
Call.
Wow.
And Butch called.
Have I fallen in love with this pocket pair? Hell no.
Phil lays it down. We got 2 cards left. A very big pot developing here. 2 cards left. Turn card is a 7.
Check.
Bruce checks it to Butch.
If Bruce has a strong hand and he's trying to induce a bluff, he's running the risk of giving a free card. I would absolutely not take the chance of giving a free card in this situation.